Hello and good afternoon, everyone from Hindustan Group of Schools. Igniting Minds is a series of inspirational talks by individuals who have worked hard, chosen a different path, and made it big early in life. The talk series will help our children understand that there is an opportunity all around, and all that we need to do is to be mindful and be aware of all that's in existence around us. The mindfulness and alignment with the dreams and goals in mind will help achieve success, and that's why HIS ignites minds.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nayanika Arjun of grade 11 from Hindustan International School, Karapakam. Rajesh Trivedi, sir, I would like to welcome you to the live session on behalf of my school by giving us a brief introduction about you to the audience. Rajesh, sir, is the co-founder and the management trustee of the Alert organization. The Alert organization focuses on the right to life movement in India. Despite of the organization being an NGO, it has made ties with various associations, trusts, hospitals, and the government of Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. For others who didn't know Rajesh sir, he has also worked with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam and has been inspired and been motivated by him to start the Alert organization. Rajesh sir, along with the Alert organization, has started the Alert Voice, a technology-based community started by him which has ventured in the top 120 social ventures in Asia by the National University of Singapore. Sir has also played many roles in the spectrum of business across India, USA, and the UK, and has been instrumental in building India's first stimulation lab for emergency purposes. He is an opinion leader and at national level at a committee member in developing the emergency response in India along with the WHO and the AIIMS. For all that he has done to the society, he has received numerous and various numbers of awards, along with the Summit Awards, which I had to mention. Apart from business, social work, and all the economical activities, Sir is an all in all, even when it comes to extracurricular activities. He's a voracious reader, and for all the musicians listening to this live, Sir plays various instruments from the westernized piano to the Indian tabla, and also has his hand in writing. He's a well known speaker and also an analytic thinker. So I need to tell you, having 5 subjects for my 11th grade, I suffer so much to study or sometimes feel lazy. But having all of this going on and achieve so much, I'm really looking up to you, sir. And I would hand over the mic to sir with a question of how he manages all of this.
Thank you so much, Nayanika. It's a very kind introduction, generous words. Thank you so much. I take it as an opportunity to meet all of you because you come with newer possibilities and fresh ideas. And I'm going to start off also thanking Ms. Bharati Lakshmi for giving me this opportunity to meet you all today through this forum. And I'm sort of going to see. I will take that question right away to start with, and I'm sort of going to try and see if I can leave you all with some thoughts, leave you all with something that you can go to bed today, really feeling that you want to do something with your lives and move on, and something that when I just rewind myself 20 years back and where I am today. It's such talks, it's some people's experiences. They have gone a long way in making me what I am today. So I'm hoping that I can drop that small seed in all of you. Okay. So let me start. I'm going to answer that question in parts. Okay, I'm not going to start right away with that question, but you will find an answer. You will find an answer to that very specific question that you asked me, Nayanika. Thank you so much, and welcome all of you on a Friday afternoon to see you all through this medium. I would have just loved to see you all face to face, but we are living in slightly different times. So nevertheless, thanks to technology, we are all seeing each other still. So it's nice to see my screen completely with fresh and wonderful students. So a grand welcome to all of you. So I was just thinking, isn't the whole thing very different? And I was just seeing what was going on and the prep that was happening for this webinar and all that stuff. No school bells, no school buses, no lunch boxes, no canteens, Everything that probably you like about school, miss about school, or probably something you don't like about school, everything seems to have slightly changed. And parents and teachers, the funny part, who probably wanted your online screen time to be lesser, now we probably needing to do that more so that we can stay connected, right? And we're able to see as students, I'm very sure that you would have wanted to always see, why is mommy and papa always so busy? What do they really do? And when I call, I hear that I'm in a meeting. So right now in front of your eyes, they must be holding meetings, conferences, so you exactly see what they do, right? And likewise, I'm very sure that many of you who would have wanted some more time from your parents are probably getting it more now. So I was honestly thinking, what do I speak to you all about? And is there anything relevant of from my high school days to be passed on to the high school students of today? And the honest answer is, or the beauty of the whole thing is, no, there is probably not much of a relevance. And why do I say that? Because it's like this. Just imagine, like all of us, right? All of you, pick any subject that you are, any subject of your choice. So let's say you're walking into an examination hall, and you're going to take the paper, and it's about 5 minutes from the time the question paper is going to get issued to you. And some of you are super confident, some of you are tensed, some of you are like cool, some of you are like, I hope I'm lucky today. All sorts of thoughts are going on in your heads. And when the question paper gets given to you, you suddenly find that the entire question paper is out of syllabus. Just imagine how that would be. The entire question paper is out of syllabus. Today, this world that we're living in right now, the current days that we're going through, it's like that. Everything is out of syllabus. This COVID pandemic situation has made life as we had known and experienced slightly out of syllabus. And the situation is not just new only for you, it's new for your friends, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your parents, your neighbors, your community, your country, and for that matter, the entire world. So I call this as base zero. All of us get an opportunity to start something from base zero. Many of you who play tennis, there is this at the start of every game, you start with something called love all, right? Love all is 0-0. So at 0-0, you get an opportunity every single time to build your game in such a way that you can win that game. Okay, so we are at that point at a very global level. So in other words, I also see this time globally, and I'm going to relate that to each of our individual lives as well. You must have heard of this term called metamorphosis, right? If not, just go back and Google for it. I'm not a biology student either, so don't ask me too much about metamorphosis. I do not know much, but then the concept of metamorphosis is what we're all going through right now. The story usually begins with a very, very hungry caterpillar hatching from an egg, right? And the caterpillar stuffs itself with leaves, growing plumper and longer, day by day. And one fine day, the caterpillar abruptly suddenly stops eating, hangs upside down from a twig or a leaf, and spins itself into a silky cocoon. And from that day, a very radical transformation starts. The radical transformation where you would never recognize that a beautiful butterfly that came out of that silky cocoon earlier looked like a caterpillar. Absolutely no resemblance. And that's probably is what is happening at a very global scale right now. Before the pandemic, after the pandemic, we are all in the silky cocoon right now. And after the pandemic, who knows? I mean, it's going to be a beautiful world, with its flying, with the colors of the butterflies around, and it's going to fly all over the place, so on and so forth. But what does this process entail, right? This process, the radical transformation, you will find that a caterpillar, first of all, digests itself, right? And if you sort of understand how this whole thing happens, even as a caterpillar is developing inside its egg, it grows an imaginal disc for each of the adult body parts to grow when it becomes a butterfly. For example, it already has an imaginal disc about how the wings has to be, how the eye has to be, and how the rest of the body parts have to be. And when it disintegrates these tissues, except for the imaginal disc, the transformation happens. The imaginal disc takes the form of the beautiful butterfly that we all see. Now, why do I state this? The only reason I'm stating this to you all, my dear friends, is not just I'm just not trying to draw a parallel between what happens during a metamorphosis with the current pandemic situation that we are all living in, but each one of us in our lives. Okay, that's where I begin my answer to you, Nayanika, to this question of how do I manage to do. I still feel that I don't do much. I just a long way to go and lot more to do. But at the same time, you just know that the metamorphosis happens in every individual's life. Okay, and there are a bunch of things that don't change ever, whether you lived in the 18th century, 19th century, you're living in the 20th century, 21st, 22nd. There are some things that don't change. And today, I think I would want to leave you all with that thought of those things that if you can pick up, you can be those beautiful butterflies that this world really needs. Okay. So with that, so I found, Nayanika, so to answer you, I found my moment of transformation, a radical transformation. I went through that metamorphosis, as they call it, where I could find that I could be useful to whatever I do. I can be useful to people around. I can harness whatever little talents that I have to for the benefit of a larger community and things like that. Okay, so there are a few aspects I want to touch upon, and I'll leave you all with this thought. The very first aspect, you must have heard this. Quote that goes like, "When the student is ready, the teacher appears." Right? Have you heard of it? Okay, I'm going to ask you some questions in between, and every time it'll either be an yes or no question. If it's a yes, all you're going to do is you're going to give me a thumbs up on the screen. Okay, so yeah, how many of you have heard this quote? When the student is ready, the teacher appears. Thumbs up. How many of you have heard this? If you have not heard this, no issues. You are hearing it from me today. So when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And there is a corollary. Oh, lovely. I see those few thumbs going up there. Thank you. So there is a corollary to this statement. Okay. It goes like this. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. But when the student is really ready, the teacher disappears. Okay. That's the second half of the statement. And most of the times this doesn't get quoted. And there is a lot of significance in that statement. Why do I say that? Because as students who are passing out from the portals of your schools and your, the life you're spending in learning your subject stuff, when you walk out, if you can take one thing with you, and that is the ability to learn. You should have learned how to learn from things. Okay, once you just master that small art or that small skill, then everything around you looks like a learning. Everything around you looks like, you could look at something and learn. You can feel something and learn. Life teaches you so many things that you will learn. You will use all your five senses to learn, right? So the learning becomes a continuous process, and that should be your takeaway from your school days. And that happened to me. And that happened to me at so many points in my life, that learning has become a very continuous process. As I speak today, I'm looking forward more than my talk. I'm looking forward to the 15 minutes of interaction I'm going to have with you, where I'm going to learn. I'm 200% sure that I'm going to learn from that interaction. So look around. The first basic thing for you to learn is look around, be aware of what's going on around you, right? When you look around, you will see there are a lot of things that need your attention. There are a lot of problems around there. There are a lot of woes around there, which probably just needs some attention from a few of us, and those problems could be solved. And somebody very simply put it, that problems are not problems, that every problem is an opportunity. There is much and more for everybody's need in this world, but there is nothing for anybody's greed in this world, as they say, right? So look around. There may be a lot of small issues, and as recently as 2 days back, 3 days back, the government of India banned 59 apps that originates from China. And it's like, if that's like one side looks like a problem, the other side is it opens up a new opportunity, right? It opens up where are the replacements going to come from? Maybe somebody from here is going to be coming up with something that the world is going to use, right? Look for those problems. Look around. What are people suffering from? Just to give you some perspective, how many of you had, all of you had breakfast this morning? Thumbs up. Lunch, thumbs up. Super. Just to let you know, we're very blessed to have our, our meals today. There are about 800 million suffer hunger in this whole world. That means 1 out of every 9 people don't get to meet even one meal a day. That's a problem, right? Likewise, there are many. How many of you sort of think about, think spending, 100 rupees a day is no big deal. Just happens, right? You probably are stepping out to go buy something out, 100 rupees, poof, gone, right? So, but I also want to let you know that 1 billion people in this world live under $1.25 every day. That's about 100 rupees. Okay. So they still manage their life with 100 rupees. So where I'm getting to is these are some problems that are there around this world. And who can solve this? Young minds like all of you, right? 1 billion people have some form of a disability. That is about 15% of the population have some form of a disability, that they live with. Okay. So I'm not here to paint a very gloomy picture, but I'm just wanting you to open your eyes to just look around and see what are those things that probably, feels very dear to me that I would like to solve. I can give you umpteen number of examples, not from textbooks, not from encyclopedias, but from real people right now, right here in Chennai. Many of them who are solving beautiful problems, right? Some of them I can just quote. I can quote a few for your benefit. Is, one girl that I know found that people who are living in cities are having a need to have fresh organic food. But unfortunately, we are all dependent only on what is available. We don't get the same kind of food that people who are living in villages get. It's more fresh food, right? So simply she solved this whole problem by starting a company, by ensuring that I can live in the city, but I can probably rent a piece of land somewhere in the outskirts and I can grow my own vegetables. Somebody else will do this for me, but every single day I will know that the brinjal that I eat was grown organically for me and it comes and gets applied to my house, right? Likewise, that's a problem beautifully solved. It's a very successful startup that's coming up right now. Likewise, somebody looked up, one another friend of mine was working in an MNC, and she observed that the issue of transgenders not really being received well in organizations, right? So there is the stigma, and so she felt that these people really need a dignified life, right? And any other, they also have the same kind of skill sets. So she started a company called Periphery, and that company is all about ensuring that transgenders are given the right skills and they're placed in companies. There are about 200 people, 250 people placed in MNCs, big companies, and their lives are made, and they are like super performing like anybody else. So I can give you many such examples. I will probably just start with what I do at Alert. What is the problem that we saw, and what is it that we are setting out to do? Like when I finished my schooling, got onto my career, and learning has been a continuous process. I was a commerce student. I had nothing to do with technology, but I ended up getting into an IT company. But I picked up my strings. It was a love all kind of zero base for me then. So I picked up, I learned, about how IT transformation happens. That took me to places, in the kind introduction you would have heard about my involvement in bringing an IT transformation specifically to automobile companies in India, US, and UK. When that life was going on well, I just observed that the school, right, the Hindustan International, most of your, specifically the Karapakam campus, it's all in the OMR. So I used to fly on the OMR every single day to my work. And to see an accident, a road traffic accident, and to see that somebody is needing help at some point in time is a regular, it's like a weekly affair. And most of the times the person injured is probably a breadwinner, a young person. It could be you, it could be me, anybody, right? So that was an issue that we saw. And we learned that that's something that needs to be solved. And how do we go about solving it? I think basically there were two things missing in our society then. That people, first of all, did not know what to do. And even if they knew what to do, the systems weren't very encouraging enough for them to go forward and help. When I say systems, it's it's like the police and the cases and stuff like that. That was a very specific problem that hit. And then we connected, me and a few others connected to that problem and said, let's do something about this. Okay. Now that's, from then on, it's been a continuous learning process. I had no idea. As I said, I'm not a biology student either. We are trying to get into space where we are teaching people what is emergency care. So spent about 6 months with a team of 6 to 10 doctors to fully understand what is it that a lay person can do during what's called a golden hour care. And then came up a beautiful curriculum that we took to the Indian Medical Association, got it endorsed, and started doing programs. And that's when Dr. Kalam came in and he put a goal on us as to one in every family needs to be trained. So learning, right? The ability to learn. It's so very important for us to hold on to learning for life. Next comes, you need to identify, each one of us will have to identify what we are good at, okay? Innately. As I said, the imaginal disc of a caterpillar, that's what makes the caterpillar finally become a butterfly. So look at what are we good at individually. It could be math, it could be science, it could be business, it could be economics, it could be music, it could be sport, it could be speaking skills, it could be analytical thinking, it could be just anything. Just look at what are you good at, what am I good at, what is it that I seem to be enjoying doing most, okay? And not just what I'm innately good at, what is it that my mind is going towards, that if I put a little effort I can become very good at it, okay? So focus on those areas. So on one side you find a problem, on the other side you are knowing what are your strength areas. I will tell you, my dear friends, the meeting point of these two is that powerful idea that can change the world. The meeting point of these two is so powerful. It's so powerful that it will be a before this and after this. Before this idea came, after this idea came, the world would have changed, and you would have been the reason for bringing about that change. Okay, so play on your strengths. What does this allow you to do? It allows you to lead. It allows you to become a leader. Because why? You're playing on your strengths and you're solving a problem that you think needs solving. Okay, so lead. So that helps you to lead, and leaders, most importantly, success comes along, but leaders know the art of learning from failures. Okay, you will trip, you will fall, but what is most important is each time you fall, how long did you take to get up? How long did you take to recover from there and continue to move in the direction of your goal? Right? Someone asked Edison at some point in time, how did it feel that you failed 1,000 times before you found that bulb, that little thing that glows, that changed the world, right? And his answer is something that all of us to think about. He said, I learned that I did not fail 1,000 times, but I learned that it takes 1,000 steps to finally invent that one little bulb. Okay. So there's a huge learning there, that every time you fail, my dear friends, it is an opportunity to learn. It is an opportunity to know how not to do a few things. That makes you a better leader. So look at that one idea that you can hold on to, and you can feel so passionate, right? And in the words of Swami Vivekananda, I would like to quote him. He says, take up one idea, make that one idea your life. Think of it, dream of it, live on that idea. Let the brain, muscles, nerves, every part of your body be full of that idea, and just leave every other idea alone. This is the way to success. Okay? That happened to us. That happened to me at Alert. And to answer your question, back to your question, Nayanika, when you find that sweet spot, okay, you will not know what tiredness is. You will not know, you will enjoy what you're doing, and you will simply be, it will feed. And doing good is very addictive. Let me tell you that. Okay. When you see that somebody smiles because of you, that's extremely addictive. You want them to smile more. You want to see the smile on the person even more. Okay. That happened to us, and Alert helped me do that. Okay. So when we started out, we had no clue. We ran some sessions where nobody turned up. I still remember a session where we said, okay, I will go and teach emergency care to auto rickshaw drivers, and bring all these auto rickshaw drivers. I call in for take a Kalyana Mandapam on rent, and not one auto driver came that day. Okay, we ran an empty show. Okay, but the beauty is today we are tied up with the auto trade unions, the auto unions, in such a way that lakhs and lakhs of people are getting trained. Lakhs and lakhs of people, auto drivers are getting trained. Why is it so important? Because probably they are going to be lifesavers on the road, right? and that helps you to lead. And it's like the idea after a point will play the path for you. And I will tell you that with utmost confidence that that has been my experience, that it will lay the path for you, right? It will give you the direction. All you need to do is have a proper focus and have a goal that you will go after, right? So one led to another, one led to another. Some of the introductory remarks that was made, I'm very happy to share that the simulation lab that it all led to was India's first, where a lay person can come and get skilled in first response. There are 17 other labs in this country meant only for ICU, CCU doctors. Okay, but to be in a situation of an emergency, somebody like you and me are the ones first in that scene. Okay, so which means that you and I will need to have the ability to sort of take control of the situation. It could be your loved ones who are in an emergency. How do you overcome your emotion and help them? It could be your friend. It could be your close friend in school, right? So how do you, if the person is needing some help from you, that's the kind of passion that you need. Okay, so it has put us on a high table today that we are able to, because we stuck to the idea, because we knew exactly what our strengths are, brought our strengths to the table, looked at a very collaborative effort, formed teams. Okay, not that you will try and solve everything all by yourself. You got to look at what strengths others have, right? Every one of them, 10 people, 11 people make one cricket team, right? So all of them become important to win a game, right? So forming a team becomes important, so on and so forth. That today I'm super glad, because I had no idea what is emergency care is all about. I had no idea about saving lives. Okay, but today, I'm so thrilled that we are part of the a four-member committee formed by the government of India to sort of design the framework of how emergency care should be delivered to the entire country. And the other people on this committee are WHO, World Health Organization, AIMS, Government of India chairing the whole thing, and Alert. Okay, so it is why I'm saying this is not to pat myself or blow my own trumpet, but to tell you guys that when you set out with the right intentions, when you set out with your right intentions and right beliefs, bring the right strengths to the table, and you are doing it with an utmost focus and commitment, my dear friends, success is bound to come. As they say that the world will conspire, the universe will conspire for things to happen, and that's exactly what happened to us in our efforts. So you start leading. So in this space now, we've started leading. Likewise, in every one of your lives, there will be that one idea that will grip you. All of you have seen the movie Avengers? Yeah, I see some super smiles. Yeah, Avengers. You know how your relationship with that idea should be? When I say an idea, that idea which will solve a problem, it should be like you just go to it with your full heart and say, I love you 3000. Right? You should be able to go to it and say, what? I love you 3000 with all that intensity. Give it your might to that idea. It will do wonders for you. Okay. The last one I would like to throw some light upon is the third aspect is living. Okay, you have a problem. Okay, you have identified a problem. Okay, I know my strengths. Okay, I know I'm good at this. I will want to apply my mind and I'm going to solve this problem. But let me tell you, my friends, if you are really needing to be feeling alive, okay, feeling that you lived, ultimately your solution, whatever you're setting out to do, needs to touch people, needs to touch lives. Okay, make it better for people in some way. Your idea could be a 1x impact or a 10x impact. When I say 1x, it could mean it can probably even impact only on small set of people, no problem, size doesn't matter there. Some idea of yours could probably be a 10x impact. It'll impact thousands of people. It can be a startup. I'm not saying it has to be an NGO, it has to be a social, nothing. Even businesses, they come into existence because they are solving a problem. Only thing is that somebody is ready to pay for the service he's getting. So that becomes a business. But the core of it is that there is a problem that has been identified that is being solved. Okay, so it must touch lives. When it touches lives, miracles will happen, right? So being human, as they call it, is at the core of this living. Much of the problems in the world today is caused because we have slightly deviated from being human at our core. And what do we mean by being human? Caring, kindness, compassion, etc., is the essence of living, right? So when you find that because of your idea, because of what you think is right, because of you really set out to do what you wanted to do, you could put a smile on somebody's face. Because of what you did, somebody could have a meal for that day. Because of what you did, somebody felt better. You came up with an you invented, and let's say you came up with an app, and the app is making people engage themselves very positively in this world, makes them feel better. Lovely, go for it. So this is what I mean by exponential living, right? You live, your idea touches people, it's exponential miracles, guys. Let me assure you of that. A very simple example of that is again Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the guy uh, who all we revere, and somebody who's responsible for so many programs that put India on the world map for space and defense and all that stuff, looked at a girl who was struggling because of her polio, looked at a girl and she was wearing a caliper. I think you all would be knowing that. Wearing a caliper for her to walk, a tool that is like a shoe, attached to a person's leg. And it was about 4 kg weight. So imagine a school-going girl, is walking around with 4 kgs of weight in her leg. So the great man that he was, he went back and said, I am not a scientist if I've not brought, if I've not helped this girl and her walk better. And he goes back, looks at some materials that was used to make rockets, finds that correct material, makes a caliper, which is 1/10 of that weight, 400 grams. Okay. And he says that I never experienced bliss. I never experienced this kind of a bliss. When I even saw the PSLV and the rockets going into air, much more than this girl wearing that 400-gram caliper and easily walking. And it made me smile that day, right? So likewise, friends, it needs to touch lives, right? You got to, for that, what is important in school? Empathy. You pick your friends, okay? One thing when you walk out of school, you must have taken with you is good set of friends. They will be there for life. That's the people skills that you got to develop. Okay, look at each other. There may be fights, but that people skill, connect with your people, connect with your teachers, and all that. Okay, that's going to live with you for lives. Okay, so I will at alert. This happens to me every single day. When I say every single day, there is somebody whom we have trained, handled a real life incident, saved life somewhere. I mean, they come back and say, you know what, today I was in this scene and I knew exactly what is to be done. I can give you an example of one boy called Muhammad Ayub. Okay, he lives in north of Chennai, North Madras, and his father suddenly went into, his body completely became cold and suddenly became lifeless. And this boy exactly knew, he had just undergone a very intense training with us and he knew what's going on. And so he knew that this is a situation that needs CPR immediately. He starts off doing CPR. There is something stopping him because it is his father. There is an emotional sheath coming in between, but he neglects that. He pushes that aside and starts giving CPR. And, the ambulance gets called close to 2 hours. By the time this halabula happens, they go to the hospital, but his father had not recovered completely. He is continuously giving CPR. And the person goes to the hospital, and about 3-4 hours he's inside in the ICU. And then the doctor send word for this boy, asking him, I want to see this boy. And Ayub goes, and it was his father. The doctor calls him and says, where did you learn this? And he said, my boy, what I want you to do is go now, walk into that ICU and go first talk to your father and come back. He goes inside, his father is saved. He looks at his father. There is something called this happy hormones when your siblings see each other, a parent sees a child sees a father or a mother. That exactly happened to him again, that he saw that his father was alive because he did the right thing, the most right thing at the right time that saved his father. His father felt so indebted to his son. The whole gamut of his life changed after this. Okay, so this is touching lives. How can I not be once again, Nayanika, how can I not be so wanting to do more when I keep hearing these kind of incidents being reported back, that somebody saved life based on whatever little initiative that we took about 13 years back. Likewise, a girl, Veronica, she does, there was a road traffic accident in Ambattur. This girl, she's a very timid girl. somebody who is like, an introvert kind of a girl. And, there was a road traffic accident, about 100 people standing there. And she went in very sheepishly and she was looking in what's going on. And she saw and she knew that this person, okay, she exactly knew what is to be done because she was taught what is to be done. So she is like, gets onto the scene. And once again, I'm just giving you some extreme scenarios here so that you understand what it means to touch lives, right? So she goes and she sort of, does basic assessment and does CPR on her, where not inside the home, on the road. Okay, 100 people are watching her. And then on the 16th count, sort of, she sees that guy coming alive, and there she goes. She had, after this whole scene got over, she sits there and sobs. She just couldn't understand that by her intervention, a life got saved. Okay. And then she was always thinking that she wanted to become a choreographer in life. And she had a little inhibition on how can me, I do not know whether I can become a choreographer. After this incident, I saw a very different Veronica. She says, man, I saved a life. What more? Becoming a choreographer is so easy. I will get that done right away. That's the attitude to which went back, and she is on her way to become a choreographer. So my dear friends, 3 things I'm leaving you with. One, learn. When you step out of the portals of this institute, one thing you should have definitely taken is the ability to learn, identify, look around, be watchful, be aware, look at what are some things that you can make a difference to, identify your own personal strengths that you can apply and make a difference, and catch on, look at that, look for that one idea with your strengths that you can solve that problem, and that will make you a leader, and then that will eventually make you to touch many more lives so that you can all what is called live. There are about 86,400 seconds in a day, my dear friends. 86,400 seconds every single day. When you get up, make it count. There are Jawans on the border right now, right today, ready to give up their life so that we can peacefully have this webinar, for us to simply sit here and talk, right? We've got to make that count, and you are the one the world has been waiting for. You got to make that count. I'm going to conclude with one last beautiful quote that is something I just love all the time, is to laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. So I will leave you all with this thought. Any one of you at any point in time want to become a certified responder, we are here. That much I will assure you. You could go to our website. You can know more about what we do, and we'll be glad to make you all lifesavers. And that apart, I am so honored and very happy that what I'm the faces that I see on the screen is the hope for this country, hope for this world. Each one of you. When I look back 20 years, and today I connect with all my friends in my 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th standard, I did not know that I was sitting with scientists, I was sitting with bankers, I was sitting with economists. They're all changing the world in different ways today. And my dear friends, that's exactly how it is going to be for you. Your classmates, your seniors, your juniors, you're all going to be out there. And the pandemic, I'm telling you, it's once again giving us a ground zero, a zero base. Everything is going to be different from here. And every single thought that you're going to plow into this seed is going to germinate. This country needs that. This world needs that. So with that, I'm going to wish you all the very best. And I'll be glad to take any questions, interact. And one last thing, I will end with what I always love to do. Okay, I'm just going to ask you, how many of you watched this movie, Uri? How many of you have watched this film, Uri? Whoever has watched, no problem. I'm going to ensure that the others learn from you. Okay, so you got to repeat this after me. Okay, we're going to end this on a very, very high note. Okay, so please switch on your mics. I'll give you a minute to do that. Please switch on your mics. What I would like to hear is, I think there are about 55 participants out here. Okay, each one should hear the other 54. Okay, there is an energy to sound, my dear friends. Doesn't matter we're not seeing a face to face, but we're all seeing face to face in a different way today. Okay, so here I go. How's the Josh?
Hi.
Hi,
How's
sir.
the Josh?
How's the Josh?
Hi.
Hi, sir.
How's the Josh?
How's the Josh?
Hi.
How's the
How's the
Josh?
Josh?
How's the
Thank you
Josh?
so very much. Such a pleasure. Such a pleasure talking to you.
Rajesh, thank you so much. I think last 40 minutes were not only overwhelming but overpowering. Before I go ahead to my children, you stepped in as inspiration from an external source. We have an in-house inspiration. Joint Director, Hindustan Group of Schools, Lieutenant General Bobby Matthews. We would love to see a conversation between you both. General, it'd be nice if you could, have a conversation with Rajesh, and we would love to watch that. We see two high points of Josh at the moment.
Sir, it's my absolute honor that you are here in this session. Thank you so much for joining in. It's totally my honor. Salutes to you, sir.
Can you hear me, Bharti?
Yes, sir.
Firstly, on behalf of our principal and all the student warriors, I want to thank Rajesh for an excellent talk. It is by the impact that talk has on its listeners. How does it make the listener more competent, more adept in improving his life and life around others? I did a little bit of reading on Rajesh. He's much younger than me, maybe half my age. But it is the spirit of service which drives this young gentleman. Because I come from the Kumaur regiment, and our motto is Seva Parmo Dharam. According to the scriptures, there is no bigger religion than Seva. Parmo Dharam, Sanskrit Seva Parmo Dharam. There is nothing greater than service. There's no greater religion than service. So, and he's not done it by talk. He's doing it by action. Rajesh, I listened to every word of yours, and so many things I have learned from him. So many things he has reiterated. Because what is learning is to keep on hearing it and making it one day part of your life. He said the first thing you must remember, learning is a continuous process. All the people who have been successes in life are those who have never stopped the process of learning. And those who are in the process of learning will never be arrogant. They will always be epitomes of humility. Look around in your world. The learners are humble people, because without humility, you cannot learn. You look around the arrogant people, they have closed their shutters. They may be fortunate enough to have got some quality, maybe looks, maybe wealth, maybe they were born in the right family, but that's it. Arrogance comes from insecurity. And humility comes from the ability to continue learning till you die. There were so many points Rajesh has spoke about, which are part of my life every day. All of us are destined to make a difference. All of us, from the smallest person to the biggest person on the earth, has a role defined by the Almighty for him. He has powered you with that potential. It is for you to unlock that potential and give what he has empowered you with to society, to the world, to your parents, to your friends. He spoke another reiterating and recapitulating his talk. What does a man carry with him when he leaves this world? It's a very profound question. I'll ask Rajesh this question. Rajesh, what do you carry with you when you leave this world?
Absolutely
It's
nothing.
other
Than
sorry.
the lives.
It's a very difficult question I've asked. Rajesh is a very well-learned, articulate. I mean, he loves books. You carry nothing except honor.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Honor cannot be bought. Honor cannot be cultivated. Honor has to be earned. It's such a simple philosophy which I want all of you to take back with you. Honor has to be earned. ना बातों से आएगा, ना पैसों से आएगा, ना मतलब शान से नहीं आएगा, शौकत से नहीं आएगा, अपने कर्मों से, अपने जो आप इस दुनिया में करते हैं उसके साथ इज्जत आएगी, और इज्जत के साथ जब आप जाएंगे, you will take with you a peaceful soul and leave behind people who will talk about you. This, in a couple of words, I've tried to make it as as non-profound as I possibly can, is what life is all about. I want to thank Rajesh for a wonderful, wonderful talk. Rajesh, you have taught me a lot of things, and I'll look forward to all my warriors just clarifying your questions with him. Feel free, never feel inhibited in asking anything. One more minute I'll take. All of us get stifled. अगर ये पूछूंगा तो वो क्या सोचेगा? You don't worry about what others will socho or not socho. You do your thing. He narrated a poem. I'll narrate a small poem which I learnt in school. I do the very best I know, the very best I can, and shall keep doing so till the end. If the end proves me right, what is said against me will amount to nothing. And if the end proves me wrong, even 1,000 angels swearing that I was right will count for zero. So you just have courage of conviction and do what you feel is good. No one can tell you what is good. There is no right, there is no wrong. Who's to determine right, wrong? Who's to determine good, bad? They're all contextual. There may be a context in which you'll have to kill a person. So is killing good or is killing bad? So there are no absolute truths in the world. I've gleaned this out from what Rajesh spoke. Those who are smart would have understood it. So please ask questions without fear. Don't worry whether it's a stupid question, because stupidity is all contextual. What is stupid to a stupid fellow will be absolutely intellectual for an intellectual person. Is it right? So go ahead. Let me see how can we pay tribute to this wonderful man? By asking him questions, making him feel that his time with us was worth it. Otherwise, there's another very good way, which wherever I've gone for talks, any questions, no, sir, you spoke very well. Who cares for speaking very well? You bombard him with questions so that he feels rejuvenated, that his next talk will be even better. I want the question session to start, Rajesh, with your permission.
Yes, sir. General, thank you so much. Adam has been waiting to ask Rajesh a question. Adam?
Good evening, sir. Adam Star, grade 10. Sir, with your kind permission, may I address my question?
Yes, Adam, please go ahead.
Sir, how do you deal with various issues when you are overwhelmed and underperforming?
How do you deal with various issues?
When you are overwhelmed and underperforming.
When you're overwhelmed and underperforming. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, I would my recommendation for some situation like that is, there is something called area of influence and area of concern. Okay. Just note down these words, even if you don't fully understand these terms today, no problem. Okay. Area of concern is something that can make you overwhelmed. When I say overwhelmed, it's like you want to go into solving something. You see a problem, you want to go into solving something, and you're just suddenly finding that it's mammoth. It's like one huge dragon out there, and it looks huge, and you sort of think that, oh, did I sort of make a wrong step here because the problem looks larger than what I thought? So it could become a little overwhelming, right? So that's, but you're concerned about wanting to solve it. You're concerned about wanting to address it. And that's your area of concern. Okay. But your area of influence is what I speak about is your things that you can do, things that are within your control, right? Things that come naturally to you, that your areas of strength. As we go back to that point where it's like, you need to identify what are my strength areas. With that, what parts of this problem can I address? So sometimes the area of concern is so big that the area of influence of area of control can be a small subset of it, or sometimes it could happen that it can fill the whole area of concern itself. But if you're feeling so overwhelmed, then probably it is like the area of concern is so huge and there is a small part. So ignore the rest of it. So you got to tell yourself that, okay, I probably cannot churn the ocean, all at a time, right? I can't go and solve everything at a time, but let me take this piece. Let me solve this puzzle. And these are 4-5 puzzles which are within my influence, within my areas of strength. And you take that, focus on that and go. So then it becomes one thing at a time. You will reduce your feeling overwhelmed. And then in this smaller subset, you will definitely perform better. You will not underperform. I hope
Thank you,
that answers your
Rajesh.
question.
And we have another young gentleman coming up, Harshavardhan. Harshavardhan wanted to
Good
ask you
evening,
a
sir.
question. Yes.
Good evening, Harshvardhan.
With your permission, let me ask you a question, sir.
Sure.
So, what is your biggest achievement, sir? And what is the one advice you will give to a young scholar or a student who's who wants to become like you, sir? Like who wants to become like you?
Okay. Biggest achievement, there are two questions there. Biggest achievement. See, to be very honest with you, this grows, this sense of achievement grows over time. To getting, all the way from, let's say, when you start off something on your own, that's a sense of achievement. And because you started something on your own, you get invited to meet Dr. Abdul Kalam. That's a sense of achievement. And then you sit on the high table along with WHO and AIMS. That's a sense of achievement. All that happens. But the real sense of achievement today, to get these kind words from somebody like the Lieutenant General Bobby Matthews, that feels great. Humbled. It's a sense of achievement. But what really lasts, something from which I can draw again and again and again, as I said, is when you see that because of what you did, somebody smiled. Because of what you did, you made somebody's life slightly better. That could be because of an invention. That could be because you discovered something. That could be because you built something. It could be anything. But because of that little act of yours, some other human life got touched in a positive way. That according to me, I'm able to draw again and again. I'm able to feel accomplished about myself again and again on that. That's number one. And to your number two question, what is my advice? I have a very long way to go, honestly. But yes, not exactly an advice. Again, a thought I would probably like to share is two words: never stop learning. Never ever, that's as it was once again re-emphasized. Look around and never stop learning and empathize. I think that's a very key word: empathy. Put yourself in others' shoes. Put yourself in other person's shoes. You know that you will do better. You will always have something to go after. There will be things that will make you get up in the morning every day with the thought that I got a whole 86,400 seconds full of life to go after. Okay, so that's my if at all it's not an advice, again a thought that I would like to share.
So success is a culmination of all the small moments of smiles, small moments of achievements that you see in life, right? And with
Right.
that thought, we go to Neha, who's waiting to ask you a question.
Good evening, sir. I'm Neha, and my question to you is, what is your idea or who motivated you behind the creation of your company, Alert?
Who motivated? What is the idea? Okay, who motivated me? Yeah, so again, it's when you look back, it's a series of things that happened. In fact, I think there was one incident that accentuated the whole thing. As I said, every single week we used to see, somebody losing life on the road, and then there is always not a dearth of 100 people, standing there and looking at what is to be done. Then a thought. I wouldn't even call it a very social thought. Most of these things, you do because you want to answer something within yourself. The question that came to me was, what if I was there in that spot? Is this how I want the rest of them to react to me? Is this what I would want? There are 100 people, but not one doing anything about it. But I don't blame them. There are 100 people. I see there is concern in their eyes. Something is stopping them. I don't know what's stopping them, right? So if I were there in that spot, and that's what I called empathy. that was the kick-starting thing of, let's do this, let's address this. And then we started putting our, learn and see what can be done. And, then comes the intellect part. First comes your, your heart. And then once your heart comes in, chips in there, then your intellect comes with all the necessary things to and then, that energy is pulled the right kind of people, starting from everybody who joined boards, the thousands of volunteers who are there, starting from interactions we have had with Dr. Kalam. There's those few minutes that we have spent with him, phenomenal. Those things are going to stay with us forever. Those things are going to probably so deep rooted now that they are, and many more. There are many other things that have been inspiring in my life. My gurus, there have been people whom I have looked up to, my parents, my guru. I studied in an institution where it was a lot of spiritual focus as well, at the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning and all that. So it all fell in place for me. And then the trigger point was probably one incident where I myself met with an accident right opposite the Arvind Theatre in Karapakam, where one of your campuses is. And I found myself at 1 a.m. on the road, lying with about maybe 25 people wanting to help and finding themselves helpless. And there, I think probably it just needed that little bit of a spark, and then things took off.
Thank you, Rajesh. Empathy and a determined heart. And that's what leads us to Salman asking you a question.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir. Salman, grade 11. Sir, I wanted to ask you this question, sir. What advice would you like to give the youngsters in this generation about how to achieve their goals, and how can they stop overthinking about what to do next?
Okay. Yeah. So I think in the current times, you guys are living at a time where I think there is a big advantage of a zero-based start. Okay. So when I say a zero-based start, an absolutely new world all of us are getting introduced into. Okay. So so my take will be that there are about 100 things that will come your way that you will want to do. As much as you want to say an yes, okay, it is equally important to identify what are those 99 things that you will say and no, okay, that you will not want to focus, that you will not want to do. Okay, most of the times we are on the lookout of what should I do, should I do this, should I do that. So there is this thing of negation, as they call it. Okay, when I say negation, you should sort of develop this thing about, and that comes with absolute focus. That comes with absolute focus of where is your heart going, and every morning is it sort of kicking you to live that day towards that goal that you want to set. Okay, so as much as you choose that one thing to do, developing the art to say a no to 99 other things that could distract you from doing that one thing is crucial. That will be my
very true, Rajesh. As is learning to say no is a difficult, arduous learning, but we must, and we do it over a period of time. And that's where Harshit comes up to ask you something very significant.
So, what gets you excited about life?
Harshit, can you repeat that, please? Can you repeat that, sir?
So, what gets you excited about life?
What keeps me excited about life? It's a superb. It's like I can take another 2 days to keep talking about it. I think just about everything, because everything around looks so new and thought-provoking, and it's still like every morning you go out there and look at the sunrise. Honestly, I just get baffled by it. We are probably not too close, not too far from that little thing called sun that is keeping us warm enough to stay alive. Right. So likewise, everything, all that I have learned probably with not too much of an importance during my childhood, but when I see it in real life, it's all falling in place and making me feel excited that oh wow, this is what it all meant.
So you treat every day as a new day. Every day is a new day. A new life.
Every second is a new second. So that's what keeps me.
Gautam, you're going next. Thank you, Harshit.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Gautam from Hindustan International School, Karapakam. Thank you, sir, for those kind words. I have a question in my mind, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
what role did your family play in your life, and how did that lead to the subsequent foundation of Alert? Thank you.
Lovely. They played a very big role, and they continue to play a very big role. And it's a role which cannot be ignored, and it's a role that I would, as much as I can speak about the satisfaction, the living thing, and the accomplishment and all that. I think I would probably want to give a large lion's share to my family, because of the environment they have created around me, the environment they have ensured that I can do these things, that kind of a thing. Whether my mother, father, many a times I have, let me tell you this, when Nayanika also asked me this question, how so many things, I used to curse, every single day from morning to night. I used to have a rigor during my childhood. Okay, start my day early, and then I would be at school, and then this class, that class, into violin, into, every, it's very natural to start cribbing, right? I just seem to be like, super busy, and I used to sort of complain. But to be honest, I feel so thankful, so very thankful, because today, if not for music, probably I wouldn't look at life the same way I am able to look at it today, right? Likewise, my entire family, who stand by me like a rock solid support. And when you venture out doing some of these things, you really give it more time, that sometimes it is actually at the cost of the time that you give to your family. Okay, and that means a lot, and their adjustment, their acknowledgement of it, I mean, that's something for me to be eternally grateful about. So they play a huge role, my dear friend.
So gratitude is the word that you live by, Rajesh.
Gratitude.
Ashwin, are you coming in next?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, sir. Ashwin, grade 10. So my question to you is that how do you face your failures, and what kept you incentive throughout your career?
Okay. How did I face my failures? I wouldn't say that right from day one I faced failures very bravely. It's a journey once again, right? It's a journey where initially it does have its impact on you. You feel low. All that is human. Okay, do not. It's we're not superhumans out here. That right from the very first time you fail, you can get over it and say that I can. But slowly you got to move on from there to sort of tell yourself that what is this teaching me? It is most importantly teaching me, and it's very important for people who want to do something on your own, because these lessons, I'll tell you, I mean, these lessons, nobody else can teach you better than your own failure, right? So do not miss those lessons. Okay, somebody who has not learned from the failure needs to feel failed. But if you simply learned the lessons from a failure, look forward to fail more. That's what I would say, right? People fail more, they learn more.
Welcome failures as much as you welcome success, because that's what is hiding behind, right? And two little more tiny more questions coming up, Rajesh, from Alifia and Charan. So Alifia, are you going next? Alifia or Charan, if you're ready, you can go next, son.
Good evening, sir. Sri Charan, grade 9 here.
Hi, Sri Charan.
So, bringing back this pandemic topic. So, sir, like you may have seen the news that many of the biggest companies around the world have cut down the wages of workers, and in some cases have fired them too. So, from your side, sir, being in such a big company, how would you make sure that the daily wage worker gets his amount of money and is not fired as well?
Okay, it's a beautiful question. We've been having a lot of discussion around that, not just in our setup, but honestly, with industry bodies, I've been having quite a few calls with CII and the NASCOM when it comes to IT and all that. From an individual viewpoint, we are going through a very tough time and rough time. So most of the companies, see, the intent is not to do away with people just like that when they are, when they are having to need to. But I would want to flip the thing around to say that it's in the best interest of the individual to also ensure to always keep the relevance of his skill high. And that's why, once again, it comes back to learning becomes so important. Okay. If you have stopped learning, when was the last time? The question to ask is, when was the last time you did something for the first time? Okay. That first time, learning something for the first time needs to happen in very frequent intervals. Then, my dear friends, you do not have to worry. You don't have to worry about the fact that you're feeling insecure. Somebody will not find your need. Somebody will find that, you're a misfit for this current organization, so on and so forth, right? So constant upgradation. So remember this statement. When was the last time you did something for the first time? That frequency of learning has to keep happening. And this is something which we are telling people in the industry, right, to all of them, and to companies to inculcate that culture also in such a way that people are constantly upgrading it, that they don't face a situation that there is irrelevance for what they do and the skill set that they bring in. It's a very important question. It's not something that it's going to get solved on overnight. But then from an employee angle, he needs to be upgraded all the time.
So let's try being the best version of ourselves. That's where the lesson comes. Alifia, are you coming over, child? Is Alifia around? Okay, intelligent questions, thoughtful answers. It's been a great learning, I think, for all of us who are listening, as teachers, as parents, as students all the time, because learning is continuous, as the message, as the underlying strong message that has been given to everyone. Arshia wants to thank on behalf of all of us. So may I please request Arshia to present the vote of thanks.
Good evening to one and all present here. AS Harshia, grade 9. Our greatest gratitude to respected Mr. Rajesh R. Trivedi to come to this platform with all of us, young minds, and giving us an experience we could all never forget. The knowledge we have all gained today is one of the biggest gifts you could give to our age, because knowledge is the only gift which would sustain within us and also help us succeed in our future deeds. From all us young hearts, we would like to thank you for being an inspiration to us and opening our eyes to wisdom. We would always show this gratitude in our hearts, just in the remembrance of you being a fragment of our lives. And also a heartfelt gratitude to Hindustan International School for providing us with this opportunity, and to everyone who participated and interacted and made this truly a memorable experience. And once again, thank you, sir, for the contribution you have done to this world and for the time you have all taken to be with us.
Arshia, thank you so much for voicing out all our thoughts. It's been great. And Rajesh, once again, on behalf of the Hindustan Group of Schools, we are truly indebted to you for the extremely insightful session what we've had. And I'm sure the Gen Next or the Gen Y is totally prepared to meet all the challenges and create new ventures, create new symbols of hope and opportunity for everyone. So thanking you once again. I thank the media department for having this organized for us. And overall, a big, big thank you to Universe and the Almighty for having brought this day, for having made this day happen.
Give a round of applause, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, General. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Rajesh. God bless you always.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.